What if the Force revived Obi-Wan and sent him back to Episode 1? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Maul mounts his speeder and prepares to take off to confront the Jedi as his probe droid reports finding them. But as he begins to activate it, the droid begins to jerk in the air before flying straight towards the speeder and shattering against its chassis. Cursing, the Sith warrior turns to the cause of that commotion and finds a hooded figure. He does not appear to be one of the Jedi who had accompanied the Naboo delegation. Curiously, his intelligence did not mention a third member of this strike force. He dismounts nonetheless and pulls out his saberstaff, holding it menacingly before this Jedi. Yet the cloaked figure does not flinch. He does not seem surprised or even particularly intimidated. There is a steadying presence about him, something commanding, but also unafraid, as if he had encountered all of this before.
Well then, I suppose I could use a warm-up before confronting his friends.
Maul lunges forward, lightsaber blinding in the desert sun as he brings his weapon down upon the figure, and yet he sidesteps this attack and kicks him aside. A moment later, his cloak is thrown back, and Obi-Wan rushes to meet him, lightsaber slashing at him. The Sith parries these strikes, and the two trade blows. He curses and unleashes a flurry of quick strikes. These were movements he'd done to overwhelm the Jedi, yet Obi-Wan does not falter. He moves through each attack and pushes it aside without much effort. Then, a force push sends Maul sliding back. He looks up in surprise, watching Obi-Wan advance, watching him anticipate and block every blow. Cursing, he comes at him yet again, dragging one blade against the ground and then sending sand flying in Obi-Wan's direction. The Jedi sidesteps this, and the follow-up thrust. Maul twirls his lightsaber and then jabs at him again, but Obi-Wan is no longer there. Instead, he flies back and kicks him in the small of his back. When he turns around, the Jedi has a lightsaber pointed at him, but he does not strike him down just yet.
Give up this path, Maul. It will not end well for you.
Fool! What do you know of the path I walk?
I know it will only leave grief and suffering in its wake. Though you do end up a bit taller.
I am the Sith. The Jedi's time ruling the galaxy is at an end.
You are just a pawn in another man's game, a piece that will be discarded when your usefulness is at an end. I am giving you this chance to walk away now. Do not be foolish enough to turn it down.
I do not need anyone's mercy.
He sweeps his leg and sends sand at Obi-Wan's face. The Jedi stabs downward, but his lightsaber only finds the sand as Maul rolls aside and hops onto his speeder to ride off. Obi-Wan watches him go and curses. But he knows that this isn't his only chance. There is still time to stop the wheel from turning. He had no idea why he was brought back here, to this time of grief for him. The last thing he remembered was taking the newborn Luke Skywalker into hiding on Tatooine with him. After that, his memories grow hazy. All he recalled was the grief and pain he felt as he lamented everything that had been lost. The Republic, his friends in the Jedi Order, and most of all, Anakin. When he woke up, he found himself back on Tatooine. But not in his time. Instead, he had traveled back almost 22 years. He has no idea why or how, but perhaps this is the Force telling him to change things. Right now, his master and his younger self will be preparing to depart Tatooine. They will gather aid from the Republic to retake Naboo, but if they return, it will be the beginning of the end. Obi-Wan begins making his way back to the city, looking for a way to get off-world and stop the Republic from intervening on Naboo. He soon finds a ship and uses it to take him to Naboo. When he arrives, he finds the planet still blockaded, with the Trade Federation ships lining its circumference. The former Jedi feels a strange sense of nostalgia for it as he looks at the beautiful planet, but it is also paired with sadness as he recalls everything that had happened. His ship is smaller, and he carefully slips through the blockade as he spots a blind spot between two of the ships. This allows Obi-Wan to land in the jungles, where he knows that some resistance cells are active. Alongside them, hundreds of battle droids patrol the area on foot or on staffs. Their tanks roll through the jungle, searching for potential enemies, and there, the rebels strike. A landmine is detonated underneath the tank, as the guerrillas pour blaster fire upon the droids, who try to organize a counterattack. Many of them are cut down before they even realize what is happening. The only ones who manage to rally are the destroyer droids, which unfurl and activate their deflector shields. The resistance is swiftly pushed back until a shape appears from the shadows. Obi-Wan sweeps his lightsaber down and cuts through the first of them before using the bits of debris to crush the other two. Gregor Typho steps out from the clearing as he spots the Jedi standing over the sparking droids. Raising his hands, he calls out to him. You have our thanks, Master Jedi. We did not know the Republic was sending reinforcements.
They didn't. I'm acting on my own coming here. I came because I cannot ignore the suffering of the Naboo people.
Regardless, we are grateful for your help.
Indeed. I wish I were bringing good news, but I fear that if the crisis drags on any longer, there will be more suffering. I have even heard reports that Nute Gunray might be targeting Padme Amidala's life.
It was not entirely a lie, as he recalls the lead-up to the CIS crisis. But his words have the intended effect, and the men tighten their grips on their blasters. They quickly place themselves under Obi-Wan's command, seeing him as the most experienced leader among them. He goes by the name Ben, and begins waging a guerrilla war. His years of fighting in the Clone Wars give him a strong understanding of these droids, which he uses against them. His army soon grows bolder as they launch daring strikes upon the droid forces. The Naboo resistance moves beyond just the jungles and begins striking in urban areas, where they develop resistance cells. Soon enough, they begin to free prisoners, capture material, and defeat droids by the hundreds. As the scrap metal piles up, they also begin building a case against the Trade Federation. Records of their misdeeds are discovered and broadcast on the HoloNet for people to see. From illegal detention to stealing of resources, the galaxy sees just how brutal these corporations are. Obi-Wan is careful to avoid showing himself in this footage, claiming that he does not want the Jedi to know of his involvement. The Naboo resistance is happy to accommodate him, focusing on the brutality of the Trade Federation. Along the way, Obi-Wan launches his own investigation. He begins to look for anything that might link Nute Gunray with the Sith and use it against them. They begin capturing Trade Federation members and interrogating them, as well as trying to gather evidence. Soon, the entire galaxy is cheering on the small system. The people know of the Trade Federation's greed, and the peaceful people of Naboo. Seeing them taking up arms and resisting the colonization of their world is an inspiration to many. This adds more pressure to not just fight, but conduct a full investigation on this matter. Obi-Wan is careful to do this behind the curtains, but he cannot do this completely undetected, as the Sith do begin to sense something is off. Particularly, Plagueis senses something is off. He watches all of this from the shadows and stares at this mysterious organization as they broadcast one of their attacks. It is completely unexpected, and their rise is suspicious. While his apprentice assures them that they will not affect their plans, the Sith Lord is not convinced. Someone else is pulling the strings, and he wants to know who, especially as he was the one who helped bankroll this invasion. If there is someone looking into it, the risk of him being incriminated is great. Even if he is not exposed, there is still the issue of them winning an outright victory. The plan was for the Republic to intervene on Naboo and secure Palpatine's rise as Chancellor. While things are going his way regarding the election, the Naboo resistance winning without him will only harm his influence. The Chancellor-to-be assures him that everything will be okay, and that he can still secure power, but Plagueis is not convinced. He sends secret messages to Nute Gunray to discuss the issues with him.
You are failing, Viceroy. Your occupation is unraveling before your eyes. Please, my lord. It is not as if I am leading the troops in the front. The battle droids were not expecting much resistance. We were assured that this planet is not heavily armed. Your droids are to maintain secrecy, and yet they failed to do even that against a few peasants holding in the swamp. Do you understand how risky our position is? If information regarding our involvement were to get out, it would mean both our heads. Take care of this. What more do you expect me to do? We are not equipped to fight a war. We require more support. Then force their hand. They are not calling you criminals and brigands for what you have done. Do more of it so the Republic cannot ignore it any longer. Force this resistance group out of hiding, and then crush them.
He cuts the transmission off, but instead contacts another figure, whom Palpatine has no idea he is aware of, Darth Maul. The Sith warrior is a bit surprised to be contacted directly by Plagueis, but bows nonetheless.
Master Plagueis, what a surprise. The occupation of Naboo is failing, young one. But do not fret. I know it is not your doing. It is that foolish master of yours. That is why I have contacted you now. I require your help in dealing with this matter. Of course, Master. What is it you require of me? To counter this new variable, we must change our tactics. I require you to oversee them. Do this, and perhaps I shall reconsider just who is worthy of being my apprentice.
Soon, the skies above Naboo turn grayer with each passing day. Trade Federation droids march through the plazas of Theed, their weapons constantly trained on invaders. Loudspeakers declare curfews. Civilian hovercars are searched at random. Homes are raided in the dead of night. Those who refuse are arrested in detention facilities outside the city. Viceroy Newt Gunray stands atop the grand balcony of the governor's palace, flanked by battle droids and Nemoidian aides. He looks more like a dictator than a mere businessman.
Those who shelter terrorists will be considered enemies of order. Resistance begets consequences. Families of known traitors are urged to cooperate and will be relocated for their own safety if deemed necessary.
His words are met with silence, an eerie, suffocating silence. Then whispers ripple through the city. In secret basements and forest camps, the resistance listens in disbelief. They are stunned at how quickly things have changed. While the Trade Federation was always exploitative, they were more like debt collectors. Now they are behaving like a conquering army. Across Naboo, dozens are arrested. Entire families are loaded into transports and sent to unknown locations. And it works. Within a week, resistance numbers dwindle. Some desert, others vanish, either captured or choosing to return to protect loved ones. This army is inexperienced, and they fight to protect their families. Now it seems like the only way to do that is to surrender. At the same time, the Republic learns of this and begins to act. With Palpatine running, he gives a platform for taking action, and many rally behind him, eager to see the Trade Federation punished. But deep in the swamps, Obi-Wan Kenobi seethes. Inside a makeshift war room, maps and reports clutter the table. Typho delivers the latest news with a clenched jaw.
2 families we were sheltering. Gone. Droids stormed the safe house just before dawn.
He's pushing us into a corner. He wants the Republic to invade, or he's trying to scare us.
They might. And maybe that's for the better. We're not equipped for a total war.
A murmur of agreement passes through the gathered fighters.
No. The moment the Republic lands troops, this turns into another proxy war. We lose the moral high ground. We become the excuse they need to pass new laws, give emergency powers.
Then we're losing, Ben. Perhaps these powers might be necessary.
All right. Let's adjourn for the night. But I want all of you to remember, this war is not over yet.
Obi-Wan turns away, staring out the narrow slit of a window toward the jungle. He senses the fear creeping into their hearts, and it stabs at him. He remembers the end, the Empire, the death of the Jedi, the very path they now stand upon.
We strike harder. We hit their patrols. We sabotage their transports. We remind the people that this resistance was never built on politics. It was built on courage, on truth.
Soon enough, the war changes yet again, as Obi-Wan switches tactics. News soon arrives that Palpatine has become Chancellor, and a task force is being assembled. Only then does Obi-Wan realize they are running out of time. In desperation, he begins ramping up attacks and showing less regard for collateral damage. He now approves of attacks within population centers and tries to force the Trade Federation's hand and hopefully intimidate Newt Gunray into surrender. He knew the Nemoidian was a coward at heart and might be intimidated into surrendering. The biggest attack comes, indeed, when he orchestrates a bombing of a transport that contains several of Newt Gunray's aides on a private shuttle. The attack goes off without a hitch, but due to its proximity to the city, it also destroys several nearby buildings and injures several dozen. This time, the attack goes too far, and all sides are horrified. The Republic now views this resistance not as a group of freedom fighters, but instead as terrorists. Palpatine is quick to jump on the bandwagon and vows to restore a legitimate democracy in the government, not run by extremists. Newt Gunray is also stunned, as that was one of his ships. Yet, rather than breaking his will, he is infuriated and sees this as a justification for his hardline policies, and continues to enact them. And most of all, the rebels who fight alongside Obi-Wan are stunned. They wanted to protect their homes, yet Obi-Wan's actions have only put people's lives in danger. Many can no longer support him and leave, either to surrender or form their own cells. When Obi-Wan returns, he finds himself alone. He curses and rages, shaking his head at their departure. For once, his anger is getting the better of him, and he blames the rebels for lacking the resolve to do what needs to be done. To them, they are allowing the Sith to take over just as the Senate allowed the Empire to rise and the Jedi to be destroyed. No, only he can stop it. And as Obi-Wan looks on, he realizes he must do it alone. Thankfully, getting inside the palace proves easier than expected. With his old knowledge of it, Obi-Wan manages to sneak in alone. He realizes the only way he can end this is by cutting off the head, Newt Gunray. Obi-Wan slips through the corridors, dodging droid patrols, just as he overhears reports from the guards that there is trouble outside the city. He curses, knowing just what kind of trouble that might mean. His master. That means there is no time to waste. He rushes towards the main hall where Newt Gunray is walking with a few of his aides and a handful of droid guards. Spreading his arms out, he unleashes a burst of force energy that throws the droids aside and leaves his aides crumpling to the ground. The Viceroy gasps and looks around, staring in shock.
Who are you?
A bringer of justice. I give you one chance to confess your crimes. Do that, and what happens next shall be quick. But resist, and you will suffer the consequences.
I will not be intimidated by the likes of you.
Obi-Wan suddenly uses the Force and pulls him in close. He screams, and the Jedi grabs him by the collar and takes him to the reactor shaft. The Jedi knows it is not enough to simply kill him. He must get a confession, something that can be verified if they are to stop the Sith. So as the Viceroy cowers, he grabs his arm and holds him over the ledge.
My arm is getting tired.
No, please. This is against what you Jedi believe. You do not hurt the unarmed.
But you did.
He thrusts him out further as the Neimoidian blubbers and wails, shaking his head. But then his pleas are drowned out by the sound of fighting. Obi-Wan nearly loses his grip as he turns to see Maul coming in, but he is not alone. The Night Brother is locked in combat with Qui-Gon Jinn. His eyes widen in realization. He had taken too long, and now the Jedi are here. Maul and Qui-Gon both turn to see it, just as his younger self is locked out.
Release him, stranger. Yes, please, listen to him.
The two brandish their lightsabers. Obi-Wan throws Newt back on the platform. Suddenly, Maul charges at Obi-Wan, lightsaber spinning in a blind arc. He anticipates this strike and kicks Maul aside, sending him stumbling. But to his shock, Qui-Gon comes at him, lightsaber sweeping down. He barely blocks it and pushes aside. Obi-Wan is too stunned to react, allowing his former master to recover and attack again. The older man brings his lightsaber down, his movements determined and methodical, not rushing forward, but studying his style. Here, Obi-Wan finds his mind conflicted as he tries to avoid hurting him and focuses on playing defense. This allows Maul to recover and barrels between the two. He turns to Qui-Gon, who raises his lightsaber defensively, but must soon contend with a storm of attacks as Maul unleashes his fury upon him. The older Jedi struggles to halt these blows. The only thing that saves him is a scream from behind. Obi-Wan sweeps low and knocks Maul's legs from behind, sending him stumbling, but not falling. He tries to push forward with another burst of force energy, but Maul ducks underneath it and slashes his lightsaber. Obi-Wan parries the strike, and the two are at it again. He twirls his weapon around in a furious slash. The Jedi rushes right into it rather than avoiding it. To Maul's surprise, he pushes his weapon back and begins to unleash a blinding flurry of strikes. This time, it is the Sith's turn to face the pressure as he must try to block Obi-Wan's attacks. Their weapons continue to flash as their eyes lock, and he sees it. The Jedi isn't fighting with the righteous fury of other knights, but with simple anger. For the first time, Maul finds himself struggling and growing a bit panicked, but Obi-Wan takes full advantage of that and continues to bear down on him before ramming his shoulder into his chest. This takes the breath right out of Maul, and Obi-Wan raises his lightsaber high and cuts him down. This time, he aims for the neck and watches as Maul's head tumbles into the void below. One person who sees this is Newt Gunray, who yelps and crawls away on his hands and knees. Yet Obi-Wan does not let him go. He pulls the Viceroy back and shoves his head over the edge.
Care to join him?
He is about to push Gunray inside when a voice calls out.
Stranger, I have no idea who you are, but this is not the way. Stop this, please.
Then what is the way? Letting people like him escape unpunished. Corruption like this must be eradicated.
There is a pause as Qui-Gon recalls his master saying those exact words so many years ago, right when he was about to make a big mistake. Without thinking, he pushes himself forward and knocks Obi-Wan aside. He swings his lightsaber at him, and sparks fly around them. Thinking quickly, Obi-Wan riposts and pushes him back. The two begin to clash around the reactor pit. Their lightsabers leave burning sparks around them while they duel. Yet Qui-Gon senses something oddly familiar about the man he fights, though he does not let it distract him. Obi-Wan, though, continues to grow angrier and angrier until, from the corner of his eye, he sees Newt Gunray trying to scramble for the controls that will deactivate the ray shield. Cursing, Obi-Wan locks wrists with Qui-Gon when he tries to bring his lightsaber down. For a moment, the older Jedi cannot move, and this is enough for his former student to grab him and throw him against the control panel. His master screams as spark flies, and he is electrocuted. There is a shout from behind, and Obi-Wan turns to see his younger self, who stares out in horror, and suddenly the Jedi feels his heart contracting. He sees the fear in the Padawan's face, the helplessness as he furiously bangs on the ray shield. He doesn't just see it. Obi-Wan had lived it, and now those memories come rushing back. Slowly, he lowers his weapon and shakes his head. Qui-Gon eventually stirs, battered, but alive. He looks around and then sees Obi-Wan.
You didn't finish the job.
I couldn't. I'm so confused. I'm sorry, Master.
To his surprise, the Jedi Master places a hand on his shoulder and smiles.
It's all right, my friend. I sense it too. Your fear, your anger. You are mourning.
The word and kindness with which Qui-Gon speaks are like a punch to the gut that leaves Obi-Wan reeling. He tries to shake his head, but the Jedi doesn't let go and rises to his feet.
I lost so much to come here. I thought the Force had sent me here to do this.
If the Force has sent you here, then perhaps you should ask yourself what it wants.
Obi-Wan takes a breath and closes his eyes. The anger he felt no longer blinds him, and what he sees are the memories of Qui-Gon. All the times his master had assured him that this was the will of the Force. It was not like the Jedi who spoke of it as some sort of platitude, a way to explain what they could not understand. With his master, it was an assurance, a promise that there was a reason. It was hope. He soon finds himself tearing up as he embraces Qui-Gon. The older Jedi is confused, but begins to return the gesture. Yet as they break off, they find Gunray cowering in the corner. The death of his champion takes the fight from him, and he confesses to his paymaster and who had given him the loans for it, Hego Damask. Rain drums against the towering windows of a secluded estate on the moon of Sojourn. Inside, a fire crackles softly in a minimalist chamber of stone and steel. At the far end stands Hego Damask. He does not turn to greet the intruders. He already knows. The door bursts open with a wave of the Force.
So, it appears the Viceroy couldn't keep his mouth shut. You've come a long way, Master Jedi, and brought a paradox with you. How curious. We know who you are, Sith. Newt Gunray named you. Such loyalty gone in the end. And what do you tend to do, Jedi? Arrest a banker? A respected figure in the intergalactic banking clan?
No. We're here to end this.
Then by all means, try.
The Force explodes as they come rushing over at once. In a blink, Plagueis casts the table aside with a wave of his hand, hurling it like shrapnel. The three Jedi leap apart. The elder Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon flank him, while young Obi-Wan hangs back, waiting for an opening. But as they near, Plagueis' lightsaber whirls around and intercepts their strikes. They halt their attacks, keeping them in check. Despite his age and size, he moves with impressive speed. As they start to press against him, he leaps back and moves to gain some distance. Once he is secure, the Sith laughs and lunges towards Obi-Wan. But in a blur, his younger counterpart comes to his defense and pushes himself between them. The future Obi-Wan takes these changes and tries to thrust his lightsaber at his chest. Yet, Plagueis manages to sidestep the attack and slash towards Qui-Gon, who just barely manages to halt this attack. Seeing the Jedi press hard, he begins to manipulate the air itself. Furniture, broken metal, and fragments of the shattered chandelier swirl around him like a shield. The trio is forced to step back, moving to avoid the strike. Young Obi-Wan is the one who manages to find an opening and rushes in. He moves low, ducking under the attack before slashing it aside. The blade scores a narrow cut along his calf and forces Plagueis to step back.
Strike now!
He charges, blade flashing green, and Obi-Wan moves alongside him. Their lightsabers are like a whirlwind, raining attacks down on him. The Sith must dance through this storm of energy and then thrust their hand out. Lightning comes flying towards the Jedi Master. Qui-Gon absorbs some of it with his blade, but he's too close. A second blast sends him flying against the wall.
Master!
The elder Obi-Wan surges forward while the young Padawan screams. Yet neither let him get away, and they surge forward. The duel is ferocious. Obi-Wan's movements are practiced, filled with purpose, honed by decades of war, and his younger self moves with speed and agility. Even then, Plagueis is inhumanly fast, precise, and cold.
You should not exist. But the Force brought you here, didn't it? To correct a mistake. To try and stop me.
No. To remind me what I'm fighting for.
Their blades lock, and for a moment, Obi-Wan gains the upper hand. But then, a crimson blade pierces through the smoke. Qui-Gon is returned, bloodied but defiant, and his young Padawan strikes low. Plagueis twists and plunges his saber deep into Qui-Gon's chest. The Jedi Master gasps and crumples. yet he cannot stop Obi-Wan's blade as it pierces his chest. The Sith Lord falls. The rain hisses against his body as it crashes through the shattered glass wall behind him. Obi-Wan takes a moment to clear his mind and looks at Qui-Gon. The Jedi Master smiles faintly at the pair.
I am proud of both of you.
He breathes his last and closes his eyes for the last time. Once he is gone, the two close their eyes. Obi-Wan reaches for his master's lightsaber and prepares to hand it to his younger self, but the boy does not take it.
He would want you to have it.
For a moment, Obi-Wan cannot speak, but then he takes the weapon and holds it close to his chest. He takes it with him to Tatooine and buries it in the spot that will become his home, reminding himself of what it represents, what the Jedi should have been, and what he hopes Luke will bring. Hope. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.